Okay, got it. So welcome everybody on this call. We call this quantum healing reunion for people who have experienced quantum healing and for those who are interested to know what that is and what is possible to achieve by going through this process. And I wanted to share a little bit how I came across quantum healing. It's quite an interesting story. I was looking for some tool to help people experience that spiritual awakening as I was going through some deep exploration in that realm. And through the line of beautiful synchronicities, I discovered the post that Dick Harbour shared in one group. And we connected. We had a pretty long conversation, exploring what's possible and you know, about the mind, about spirituality, all those things. And I was really fascinated only in that conversation. And then I started reading transcripts that Dick was sharing in this group, and more I was amazed. And I realized that this is the tool I've been looking for. And even before I experienced the quantum healing one myself, I knew I want to train in this. And that was my first intention. I said, Dick, I want to learn this. Later only I realized that I should probably go through the process myself, first of all. That was useful. And it was really amazing. It was, I discovered so much more about myself in the process that I didn't know is possible. And I was just playfully exploring all the possibilities in the quantum field. Yeah, I just want to share that goodness with others. And so now I am also working with clients, but today's meeting is for each of you to share your experience. And first of all, probably Dick will present the process itself or shortly his own story. So I want to welcome Dick Harbers on stage. You are muted, Dick. Dick, you need to unmute yourself.
Thanks, Agni. Nahid's trying to get in. Could you just check with her link?
She's in.
Oh,
Hi,
okay.
I'm here.
There she is.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, thanks for that introduction and also your backstory, Agni. And I remember clearly that first conversation we had. And one of the questions you asked at the time that stood out for me was, how difficult is it to hypnotize people, put people into a trance? And I said, very easy, you just have to ask one or two questions. In fact, one question is enough to go into a trance, which intrigued you because you thought it was a very difficult process from what you read before, no doubt.
Yeah, my knowledge was limited in that space.
Yeah, that's right. So quantum healing is a process that I've been honored to be guided to develop over time. It developed over quite a few years. Initially started about 30 years ago. And back then, for me, it was still an exploratory and discovery process, mainly using NLP tools that I learned, but not only. Some of the things that are part of quantum healing I learned from other sources and other places and other readings. But I discovered over time that our thinking, our thoughts, influence our whole system, our biology, neurology, physiology, biochemistry, and that every cell in our body is responsive to our thoughts. So then that means that the quality of our thoughts are important. So over time, I was guided through many different ways to start exploring how to make that information useful. Useful for people who are for everyone, but particularly for people who are struggling in various aspects of their lives. Sometimes it's emotionally, sometimes it's mentally, lots of monkey mind stuff, with apologies to monkeys. maybe physical, stuff like that. And NLP was the training where they discovered that the relationship between the actual mind and body, and later on as we went through the quantum healing process, the spirit as well, and how all that links together. So that developed into a quantum 1 self-alignment process, and then quantum 2 and 3 further programs later. And I believe, if not all of you, most of you have been through the quantum 1 program. And it's basically a foundational program where we, as you would have discovered, you can share your particular experiences of it and your realizations throughout it. But basically where we support you in getting to know how, with your conscious awareness, ego, mind, to pay attention to the signals you're getting from your body, mind, and the programs of the subconscious mind and your physical body. And that's the main function of the quantum 1 process in and of itself. So in and of itself, it is an interventional program that will make some changes in your life, but the quantum 2 and quantum 3, which if you choose to go on, that's where you get the skills to use that which you learn in quantum 1. Anyway, so there's quite a few here that I've taken through the process, and quite a few here that Agni's taken through the process, so it's good to see. Hello to Katerina, I haven't seen you for a while, it's good to see you here. Christine as well, I know you. Now, and Ania, where are you, Ania? Where are you located?
That was the question for me?
Yeah, where are you located on the planet?
I'm sorry, because there is something wrong with my sound. Would you be so try to make it lower?
It's okay. Which country are you located in?
Which country I like?
Which country are you living in?
I live in Sweden at the moment.
Okay.
I mean, since 15 years,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, but I'm from Poland.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
So it's good to see we have people from all over the world here, which is also what our whole task is with Zoom makes that possible. Now, when Agni mentions when she first discovered this process both with Talk to Me and all that, and she wanted to learn how to do it, other people too have gone into training. Now, he too is now a qualified facilitator, and Maria is in that process, and from her writings and discussions I've had with her, she's doing very good work incorporating the quantum healing processes in what she's doing, and she's doing a lot of it in Portuguese. Amrita, who's can't be with us today, she's doing a lot of the process in French and Italian and English. She's quite very fluent in at least 3 languages. Nahid, I know, does some work in Hindi and also in English. So it's good to see that's also possible. So each person, NLP is a study of subjective reality, which means NLP understands that we all experience the world differently. And so each of you would have had a totally different experience of how you experience the quantum healing process. You each would have experienced the resources quite differently from each other. If you'd been in a group, you would have noticed that. You would each have experienced your eye mapping process quite differently. You would each have experienced the timeline processes in your own particular way. You would have each experienced the energy centers or chakra processes in your own particular way, and then the final process as well. So what I'm interested in, and what Agni and I are always interested in, is how each person both experienced the process and how, from going through that process, what you've taken away from it, what you've taken away for your own personal benefit, and maybe brought up some more realizations of more things that might be worth exploring. So we'd now like to open up the meeting to people who'd like to share their particular, whatever there is from that process they'd like to share. And this is just an open forum, so if you'd like something to share, just sort of put your hand up and Agni will sort of select or ask the people to take their turns. So thanks for that, folks, and let's see what you've got to say about what you've experienced. We'll be all ears.
Somebody is first in line. Here you go.
So what I have to share touches very much, connects very much with what Agnes said at the beginning. I also feel that it was through a series of synchronicities that I found Dick. I did read one of his scripts, and I was completely drawn to it. I had been on my own coaching journey for like 10 years then. And I was already a master practitioner of NLP. But somehow there was something that was missing. And I felt for some time, over a year and a half, I'd been saying myself, you have to go deeper. You've been working wonders on the surface, but you definitely need to go deeper, so that you can come to the resolution that you want. And at that point, it was very much a resolution for myself. I started on the coaching journey to help others, and namely with me, it started with my students, because I'm a teacher by training. So I wanted to help my students because I could see that they had all these emotional challenges that were actually somehow blocking their cognitive abilities. So I could see that, they were all quite intelligent, but for some particular reason, due to their the emotional turmoil they were in, they weren't getting to the let's call it peak performance, or the all that they could be as students and as people as well. And as I start in my coaching journey, I end up realizing that, that journey was as much for me than actually it was first and foremost for me. And then I would use it for other people as well. But first I needed to come to a resolution. And so I did other certification, but there was something missing. And that's when I came across one of the scripts that, as I've mentioned, was extremely captivating. And so we also started speaking. And at some point I go through quantum healing, and quantum healing for me, it was extremely magical. So it was definitely the piece that I was missing, the piece of the puzzle that I was missing, and it delivered me to the resolution of me, as I usually speak about it, in a big way. So I came to understand exactly who I am, what I'm here to do, and therefore my path forward became also very, very clear. So I've been training with Dick since then. So I've done QH2 twice, QH3 twice as well, and I'm waiting for QH4. As usual. And then we've also meet frequently to touch base and discuss how I'm using quantum healing and the insights that I'm getting, and so on and so forth. So it was a beautiful process for me, and I've been using it with people with similar results. And it's always beautiful to see when you see people, getting that glimmer in their eyes, that sparkle in their eyes, when you see them going from very clammed into people, completely open and with a stance that they didn't have before, a powerful stance. It's I always miss words. I always come to a point where words cannot express how beautiful this process is, both for ourselves and others. So that's very much where I am at the moment.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sure.
What are the results that somebody could expect through this process?
Personally, or in terms of?
Yeah, let's do personally.
for me, I'm not 100% sure. In
what
Can you
context?
specify a little bit
Yeah,
more?
so I'm thinking that new people who have never experienced quantum healing may watch the video and they would like to know what is there for me. Should I go for it or not? What can I achieve if I go through this process?
Good. Thank you for clearing that up. So what I can say is what I've been able, for example, the examples that I can give is the examples probably based on the people that I've helped so far, because, in my case, it was a question of personal empowerment, but with the people that I've been working, it's been, for example, people who feel lost in their career paths and they looking for that career which will allow them to feel completely aligned and in that sense empowered as well, because they are completely aligned with that they're doing and they feel fulfilled and they feel happy with what they're doing. So that's one of the things. The other situation where I've helped people with depression, for example, who have come to me and they were going through traditional therapy for over a year. They were medicated and I said, give me 10 sessions and I'll help you. And they look at me like, how the heck, I've been going, pardon my French, I've been going through this for over a year and now you're telling me 10 sessions and you can help me. And so it is. To be very honest, with one person, it took 10 sessions, with the other one took 15 because other things came up that we couldn't anticipate. So that was another thing. And if you look at those people today, I mean, even today, I got a testimonial from one of those people. And just to think of it, I get goosebumps because it's beautiful to see. And other than that, what else? Oh, and then there's the situation with people that I've been helping who are cancer patients. So one of them is actually a relative of mine, but with her, I worked a lot longer because she wanted and needed that support from me. And now there's another person that I had started with a different process. I still hadn't had quantum healing as a tool to be able to help her. I'm not so sure everything has its own timing because at that point when I started working with her, not 100% sure it would have worked because she had a lot of resistance and a lot of trouble visualizing, getting imagery, which for quantum is quite important. But I took her recently through a session and wow, the result from that session was seriously beautiful. And so those are some of the situations that I've been helping people with.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing this.
You're welcome.
I would like to invite, because we are limited in time, I'll focus on those people who raised their hands, and Tripta was next. So Tripta, welcome on the stage.
Thank you, Agne. And thank you, everybody. So I'll keep it brief and try and keep it to the point to give everybody else an opportunity as well. I just want to say, so I was introduced to quantum healing through Agne. So she found the process and she wanted some volunteers. And I was at the point in my life where I have tried so many different ways of trying to help myself and help other people. So my background is that of a leadership development consultant and a coach. I was in my spiritual awakening journey, and I had been trying to get my life aligned from my divorce from an abusive marriage for about 10 years. So, and not being able to find that peace, so I was gathering knowledge, so to speak, and it was not resonating. It was not going down in me to be able to then share it out. What quantum healing actually brought for me was they are very, very subtle changes. So if there were epiphanies that I had along the process when I was going through it. So for example, I was driving down one day, and I never tire telling this story. I was driving down the road, and we had to go through this process of awareness and practice that awareness as one of the assignments during the session. And I was happy. You know, I haven't, when I say I was happy in my mind, my body. There was joy, there was a smile on my face, an inexplicable smile on my face. And I'm like, wow, this is fantastic, right? And I hadn't experienced that wholesome joy in well over 10 years. And on that same day that I was experiencing the sense of joy, and I said, you know, it's all clicked in, it's all happened. And I'm driving down the road, and I get a pain on my shoulder, right? And I'm going, why do I have this pain? I'm happy, right? And I made the mistake that we all make, is when a thought or a feeling occurs, you want to understand that thought or feeling, or you want to understand where it's coming from, why is it happening, and all these questions that, you know, are I would say our silly mind, I call them rabbit holes, that takes us down. And I recalled at that process that I'm doing this wrong. I shouldn't be questioning it. I just need to thank it for coming to my awareness. And it's a process that Dick speaks about, you know, in this process, and of quantum healing, is thanking things for coming to your awareness. And the minute I stopped questioning that pain, and I went, oh, thank you for coming to my awareness, that pain was gone. Literally like that. It was the awareness of being able to do that. So I would say that my direct results from quantum healing is my awareness levels of what's happening in my body, what's happening in my mind, to slow me down and actually process in real time, has increased. Like, it's taken quantum leaps, is what I can say. And it's not that your life just becomes rosy and happy and you're pain-free and you're struggle-free or anything like that. It's not that. But it is the fact that you're so much more aware that you start responding to the present moment rather than reacting to what was and what can be in the future. And I think just that ability has brought me so much peace. It helped me deal with a very, very traumatic year that I have just been through with my parents, with my mom's Alzheimer's, and, you know, my father's declining state as well. To be able to just sit down, call on your resources, and help them support each other within yourself. So basically help you support yourself and not get drawn into the different rabbit holes of life, feelings and emotions, which are reactions.
Beautiful. Thank you, Tripta, for sharing. Let's call in Christine on the stage. Just unmute yourself if you can, so we can hear you and see you.
Here we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Good. Yeah, good. Hi. Yeah, I'm very glad to be here. I actually came through Laura Spicer, who unfortunately passed away a couple of weeks ago. I had gone through all the training, NLP trainings in Orlando, up to the so through the master practitioner, through the trainer, through the coach, and then with Laura founding a group of like a practice group. I went to her practice groups where we practiced NLP skills, and then she put up a voice coaching for trainers, and 6 weeks of voice coaching. And I went to that one, and we have been talking about what to do next, back and forth. And then she actually had, I think she already knew Dick Harper's, right, from some time before, and she suggested that I come to the quantum healing with her. She also wanted to go through it, and that that was very surprising. So with NLP as the basis, which I really like and use as much as I can. And then the quantum healing, that was really wonderful. What is the big difference? And I tried it out on myself first, is to integrate everything, not to push anything away, not to say, oh, this is bad that you have this craving. It's bad that you have this pain. It's bad that you have these thoughts. It's bad that you have this obsession even, but integrating them. So I experimented a little bit with them on my own and on myself, and asked certain things that were just coming up that I would have actually rejected initially. I also thanked them to be there, and they changed. And I also asked them where in the resources they wanted to be, they wanted to go to, of those 7 resources. And that was really an eye-opening, because I thought some of the resources, they looked kind of and sounded and felt a bit thin. I said, well, is that all that sustains me? That is or healing me? And so these different states, as I want to call them, they were kind of looking for homes, for a home where they could actually be and serve me. And that was wonderful. And I have 2 coachees right now, and one coachee was struggling with an addiction, a food addiction, actually. And I actually went through some, not all, well, I only just finished Q1. So I'm at the mere beginning. I'm possibly the newest member of this group. And so I told him about quantum healing. At first, he is a very technical person. He said, if you wouldn't have been coaching me for such a long time already, and I totally trust you, I would have said, what is this? So he was he was a little bit to kind of integrate his cravings for food and his overeating. But I said, just do it and go through the process, like invite it, thank it for coming, and then see what happens. And before he knew it, he started losing weight. So he was really seriously overweight, dangerously overweight, and he has lost 6 kilos so far. And for me, that would be a lot. For him, it's not so much, but it's a wonderful thing. So it works with me. It works quite a lot. It helps me so much to also to not to waste time anymore by remembering or by telling states to go away, but by saying, hey, you're all welcome. You can all take on a role of support and a role of can be a resource. Just tell me what you want, and they have the most amazing opinions of how to help me. That is absolutely mind-blowing. So I'm very glad I'm part of this group, and thanks for letting me share.
Thank you for sharing. I have a question for you, if you don't mind.
If I could have one too. Thanks, Agni. I'll comment more. So that basically shows what you just shared with us, basically shows one of the fundamental principles of NLP is that everything has positive intent.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Shown in their own particular way, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's a subjective thing. Just as we experience the world subjectively, our resources do too, which is also interesting. Back to you, Agni.
Right. So I wanted to ask Christine, if you think that quantum healing helps you become a little bit a better coach in some way?
I believe that. Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Sure.
And I have a few more people wanting to share. So Anya, would you like to come?
Yes, I have come across quantum healing because I was I'm still part in another coaching program So I thought it was totally by chance, but actually I was sending out signs to universe. So I got my reply. I'm not so acquainted with the quantum healing, but after when I was attending a few of the sessions, they quite relieved me. Like I started to not to be afraid of some things that are going on within me, but I started to observe them more and asking them, why are you here? Like, and the kind of fear I come across, because I have to fight many paradigms within me. So I try to visualize it, for example, if this is fear, what kind of color it is, you know, like through when I was like one of Agnes sessions, it was like I had to recognize, for example, shape or color. And so I started to imagine the feelings within me, what shapes they are, what colors they are. And it's quite fast. It starts to be fascinating. That's what I can say at this moment. However, I do not know much about quantum healing, to be honest. So, I read a lot about chakras, for example. I know that I have a blocked throat chakra, but I have thyroid, so that somehow it may relate to that. So I start to discover those mysterious ways how the universe works. Thank you so much.
If I can just make a comment about what you've said there, Ania, not many people actually know about this type of quantum healing that I've developed. There are other quantum healing sort of things out there, all aspects, if you like, in different ways. So you're not alone, you're not knowing much about it, but, and as Christine mentioned, and in her own, and as well as Maria and Tripta, it's becoming more aware without judgment of what's happening. So, and from that place of awareness, most of the fear and anxiety disappears. Now, it doesn't disappear forever if it's whatever the fear and anxiety is about hasn't been fully resolved, but it reduces. So you can actually, so your neurology and your biochemistry actually changes, that enables you then to start addressing and looking at and exploring that, whatever that fear or anxiety might be about.
Yeah, I mean, when I try to visualize it, how it looks like shape or color, I start to observe it. So it starts to getting shy. So I can say it's there, but it's not so overwhelming me as in the beginning when I face it. So yeah, that is for sure, that is help. So I'm grateful that universe sent me Acne across my life path. So I start to be more and more curious.
So you've done the whole Quantum One process, the 5 or 6
no,
sessions?
because I'm very busy with network marketing that I'm involved with, but like for self calming effects, I do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. I have Huda who wanted to share her own experience as well. And thanks, Sunny.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for everyone who's shared. It's quite helpful. My own experience, also for me, very profound. So for the last 2 years, we were in Minsk, Belarus, because my daughter, my 6-year-old daughter at the time, had a relapse of leukemia. And we'd gone there for treatment, and we were told that she had to get a bone marrow transplant done. So I had personally, I had been on the spiritual path for a couple of years now. And like someone had said earlier, that there was a piece missing. And I felt that too, because I've been regularly meditating and all of that. And for sure, it has calmed me down. I'm now able to see my anxiety and my fears. Healing is concerned, like the body healing, that part I felt was missing, and especially because my daughter was going through whatever she was going through, I actually wanted to do something where I can help her as well. And hence I came across Agni. Thank you, Agni. How it worked for me was, first of all, ever since I finished the course, and I've only done QH1, but ever since I finished that, I've realized that there is especially little aches and pains here and there, that it really the knowledge of quantum healing helped me heal myself in numerous ways. Another thing that I realized with quantum healing is that I think one of the fundamentals of quantum healing I felt was the gratitude aspect, where you thank, and due to that alone, I feel way more grateful and just grateful for even the challenges that are that can help me with them and help me not only overcome them, but if at all look at them in a different light. They don't seem so challenging anymore. So I wake up grateful, I go to bed grateful. And that for me has just totally shifted my life around, because although circumstances probably haven't changed that much, but I have. And I'm just so grateful for that, and the clarity, huge clarity. So thank you.
Thank you, Huda, for sharing. I don't have anybody else willing to share, I guess. Nobody has raised their hands. If you do want to share, speak up. Otherwise, we can have time for questions. And I think we have a few people who are new to quantum healing. So, or those who have experienced only quantum healing 1 and want to explore the next levels, we can ask questions, basically. No? Tripta, unmute yourself. Yep.
So I think I saw Christine's hand go up to say that she had a question. So let her ask a question, and then I wanted to make a comment if there's time.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for. I kind of lost the button where I needed to raise my hand. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for let me ask a question. What will I be able to do after quantum healing 2 that I cannot do after quantum healing 1?
Should I answer, or Dick?
Well, I'll start, and you can add any bits in you like, Agnes,
Yes.
or anybody else too, who's been done the quantum 2 process. Quantum 2 is where you get more of the skills that enable you to use that which you learnt in quantum 1. Quantum 1 is to enable you to start processing more effectively, because a lot of our issues is unprocessed stuff, because we're a processing system, and everything we experience in our lives has to be processed. And when we're young, inadvertently, well-meaning adults often say things to us that make what we're doing wrong at the time, and that judgment of wrongness we take on board, and we stop processing that which we're doing at the time. So our processing system has been impeded, suppressed, inhibited, and the quantum 1 is about reactivating some of those processes more and more fully, because the gratitude, which you mentioned so beautifully, Huda, gratitude enables processing. That's why the changes happen, because gratitude is an expressive form of love. Gratitude is a form of love where that which was judged before is no longer judged. And that's a suspension of judgment then allows the processing to happen of that which was stopped processing in the past, right? So in quantum 2, you learn to use all this. So for example, we explore some of the linguistic traps that we have, the language traps we have in English, which some of you would have translated into your own languages, because there'll be similar things in every language. We also look at how, and this is basically some NLP type stuff, it's how you can actually set up, use your timelines to desired outcomes for the future, as opposed to your undesired outcomes for the future. Because many people continue to set up their undesired outcomes because that's what they're focusing on. Now, NLP's got a really clear criteria of what's a well-formed outcome that you wish to set up. And then in the quantum healing process, we take that a few steps further. We also explore a very specific, how you can also add in more resources, just the 7 that you learn in, that you access in the Quantum 1 process. Those 7 resources are not the only ones. There's many, in fact, there's unlimited resources available. Those 7 are the ones that I believe are the critical ones to start the process. Now we start with inner healing because most people have some conscious understanding. Yes, the body knows how to heal itself, but it's not just the body can heal the mind and the emotions as well. And then to heal ourselves, we need to nurture ourselves, because nurturing accelerates healing. So they need to work together. Now, you would have, all those who've been through the process, you would have noticed that when we invite these resources to come to awareness, they're already there. They just have to be invited to come to awareness. The conscious mind simply has to stop everything else and just pay attention. And as we went through all the 7 resources, they were all there, but they hadn't been integrated with each other. Now, they're not the only resources. In Quantum 2, you're taught how to access any other resources, whether it's confidence, whether it's empathy, whether it's scheduling, whatever you might need in business or personal life. Right? So that's another major thing, how to do that. Then the other thing that's an important thing is that goes hand in hand with resources is start becoming aware of your limiting beliefs, those programs that you learned as a child, mostly as a child, sometimes as a teenager, maybe often occasions an adult, that things like, oh, I don't know how to do that, I can't do that, I'm not good enough, those sorts of limiting beliefs, which are not necessarily true. Because what we believe to be true isn't necessarily true, just as what we believe to be not true is also not necessarily not true. There are programs that are running at the subconscious, and we teach you how to update, recognize the programs, recognize the beliefs, and update them to a new belief automatically. Well, we'll take you through a process where it can happen automatically. Now, sometimes when you're doing a belief update, you also need to have other resources to make that possible. So you need the resources update process, sorry, the belief update process, and the resources accessing and activation, installation and activation processes. So they work together. So they're the main bits we do in the Quantum 2 process. There are some other finer bits, so Agni might have some other bits that come to her mind, but they're the major parts of Quantum 2. And then in Quantum 3, that we take that another whole step further again. Agni, anything to add, or any of the other people who've done the Quantum 2 process? Does that answer your question, Christine?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
I would add that from my perspective, Quantum Healing 1 is more like an experience. And I say that we set your system up for further work. And in Quantum Healing 2, you learn the steps and the tools how to work on yourself, right? So, I mean, if you just experience that, things are shifting, but you can continue working on yourself when you are using those tools. And that's what Quantum Healing 2 can give you in another level, sure. Okay. Anybody else? Tripta. Oh, Tripta made a comment.
Oh, that's okay. Besides that comment, I just wanted to say that, you know, I've been through QH2 twice, and there has definitely been a learning in that. But I think there's also, you know, like Dick had mentioned through the sessions, that sometimes when we're, you know, our mind perceives a path forward to say that this is what you need to do in this timeline. And Maria was talking about resistance. You know, the resistance shows up in different ways, and it says that, you know, it's just to accept that your system needs possibly more knowledge, needs something else, or like Dick was saying, another resource to support your journey forward. And I think sometimes I've seen people get disillusioned to say that, oh, but this was going to give me this fantastic result right at the end of it. And I think the learning is more in recognizing what resources you need. It's a much quicker fix than the 10 years journey that I've been through, but it's not a one and instantly done solution, right? So in terms of, like Maria pointed out, where some things worked in 10 sessions and then other things worked in a little more, but it's recognizing that every individual has their own journey and has their own resolutions. But without a doubt, no matter your journey, no matter your need of awareness in whatever area, I found that QH1 really helped bring things up to a point where it wouldn't take 10 years to resolve.
That's right. Thank you, Tripta. Maria wanted to say something, I think. Unmute yourself.
No, I totally agree with Tripta, right? You know, for example, for me, it was life-changing. There's no doubt about that. I was ready for it, right? I was looking for it, so I was very much ready for it. Sometimes people come across it and go through it, but like Tripta is saying, there's something else which is needed. Right, I must be very honest that the people that I have been helping, they're also very ready for the process, so they get amazing results from it. But you know, in certain circumstances, they might need some time. That's absolutely right, but that's also one of our principles of working with people's territories and accepting that people may be ready to X amount and not, you know, the whole package. So sometimes it's also allowing people to grow through the process at their own time, at their own pace, and to the level that is possible at that point. It can happen within a session. Like I've had clients that, for example, in a session, we couldn't necessarily come to a resolution, but then alas, the next session or 2 sessions after that, it's all worked out, it's all good. So there was some processing which was also needed, and then they can come to the resolution that they want. And as much as QH2 is important for us to be able to work on ourselves, it's actually also quite important for us to be able to work with other people in a very effective way. So there's always 2 sides to the same coin, right? We can use it for ourselves, but it's also to give us an idea of what we can do for other people, be it in the resource installation, belief update, desired outcomes, and whatever else we cover on that part of QH.
Right. I see new people joining. We have been talking for about an hour, so there is a space for questions if you want to ask Pamela something.
I was an hour off in my calculations.
I understand, but there will be a recording posted in the group, so you can
Great.
catch up. And yeah, if you want to ask something, you can do that now. Otherwise, we'll do the final meditation here to round
I'll
up.
just listen and watch it later.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hi, Pamela.
Hello.
Okay, so what I normally do in any session is do at the end of the session is do an integration meditation of that which we've discussed and talked about, listened to. Just a brief meditation, and give, if people need to go, because the time is pretty well finished, the official time is finished, people can leave quietly afterwards. But if those who'd like to stay behind and simply share how they experience the meditation and maybe also ask questions and carry on, we can do that as well. But the official end of the process is the end of this meditation. So just getting nice and comfortable in whatever that means for you. Just allowing your eyes to close. Simply say you're more internal than external. And in the classical way of QH, just closing your eyes and thank your conscious awareness for having brought you here to this meeting, this discussion, the sharing. And thank it also for paying attention and listening to others, learning from them some gem, some bit of treasure, something useful for you. As you close your eyes and notice all that and thank all that, just notice how your body, mind, and emotions respond to your gratitude. I'd also invite your being to make whatever arrangements it needs to make, and your conscious awareness can notice how this happens for you. To integrate anything that you heard today in any way it needs to integrate for you. Whether it's updating some old information, reinforcing some information, maybe even a new perspective, simply by listening to others speak and sharing their journey. Knowing there's a lot more journeys and a lot more experiences of this already out there in the world in different ways. Also, I'd invite you to thank your being for prompting you to become more aware, alert, and awake, to take you on a journey to more of who you truly can be and already truly are. So in your own way, your journey continues on the next episode of This Is Your Life, believe it or not. And when you're ready, and only when you're ready, just allow your being to bring awareness back and open your eyes. Feeling relaxed and refreshed when you're ready, and only when you're ready. And that when you come back, that'll be the official completion of this particular discussion and sharing. But you're welcome to stay on and share a little more and ask a little more. Take as long as you need. Take as long as you need. Good.
All right. So I see most of you came back to the meditation, and I want to thank everybody for participating today. I'm sure we'll schedule more meetings like that in the future, whether Q&As to answer some questions or to share feedback or maybe different formats, but just stay tuned, look for the information inside the group, and yeah, go through these transcripts if you haven't yet. A lot of valuable information there. Ask questions in the group, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time.
Any questions people ask in the group will be answered by myself and possibly others. And also feel free to post. As you probably will have noticed, Nahid posts quite regularly, Maria posts regularly, and Rita posts, who can't be here today, posts regularly, Agni posts regularly, Tripta's done it on occasion. So feel free to post to make the group itself also a community where people share, discuss, and learn from each other. So thanks, folks. I'll just echo Agni's words. Thanks for your attendance and your participation. And it's been great to meet those of you who haven't met before. As I often say, there's no strangers here, only friends we haven't met yet. So now we all have some more friends. Thanks very much, folks.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.